Hey guys, it's B here, and welcome back to the main phase. Today I'm bringing you another deck profile. Now this deck's a little bit lower power level than some of the other decks, but it's still quite useful for the NR only festival, which is what I'm designing it for. So yeah, this deck is Magical Muskets. This deck, unlike a lot of other decks in the format, has a lot of access to hand traps, which means that it can basically it can maneuver around the opponent's like certain negates, for example. So this is the list. So, uh, how magical muskets work is that all the effect monsters have the effect where you can activate the magical musket spells and traps from your hand, and they all have a specific effect when you activate a spell or trap. Whenever a spell or trap is activated in their column. So, first up for the monsters, we've got free Magical Musketeer Doc. Doc is probably is one of the better ones. Whenever a spell or trap is activated in his column, you can add a magical musket from grave to hand. Then Kidbrave, whenever a magical musket is activated in his column, you can draw 2 cards. Calamity, you can revive a magical musket, and Wild, you can shuffle 3 magical musket cards into your graveyard and then draw 1. So yeah, these monsters are all really important because they turn on the majority of your back row, and they are all searchable somewhat by Magical Musket Fiendish deal if it's popped by your opponent's card, but that can sometimes come up depending on the game. So we also got 3 copies of Shining Angel. This floats into any magical musket, I believe. No, it floats into Doc, or Calamity. Which, while it doesn't float into these ones, but it's these two are arguably more important, and generally you just need to get a hold of your magical musket. So being able to float into them is one way you can actually get them into your hand. For the spells, we've just got a couple. We've got 3 copies of MST. MST is just really good spell and trap removal in this deck. Clearing the opponent's back row is a good way to like get through to then be able to do stuff against their monsters. And then we've got 3 Steady Hands. Steady Hands is a really good battle trap. It can double your monster's attack, which then means that either if it's being attacked, you can activate this in the damage step to make it so that your opponent's monster just blows itself up, or you can activate this on your own monster during your own turn to swing for big damage against an opponent's monster. It does make it so you can't attack directly, so you can't do that against the opponent's face, but you can do it against their monsters, which means that you can get them for big damage or even lethal, potentially. Then we've got, for the traps, and the deck's mostly traps, we've got 2 copies of Olenoides. This is a good spell and trap removal option. It just pops a spell or trap, and then it's got the paleo effect, where if you activate a trap while when a trap is activated while it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it as a level 2 Aqua monster, and then that monster is unaffected by monster effects. We've got 3 Paleozoic Canadia as the paleo effect, and it's a Book of Moon. It just flips an opponent's monster face down, which is quite powerful. 3 Dinomischus is probably the best trap in the format, in my opinion. It's got the paleo effect, and you can discard a card to banish your opponent's face-up card, or yours, but no. And this means that you can deal with problematic floodgates, but also just any monster, and it's summoning itself back, and all these summoning themselves back. That means you can go into certain rank 2s, which is also a good utility for them. We got 3 Desparado. Desparado just pops a card on the field if you have a magical musket. This is just good removal. It's also, you can activate it from your hand if you've got any of the magical muskets. So really, you can just it's just a good pop. 3 Dancing Needle. This card's also good. It just banishing cards from the graveyard. Well, we did have the ban list now, so we're going to talk about that on stream. This card just lets you deal with stuff like Megalith quite easy. Same with Tenyi, and it being a quick effect because of the hand traps, just makes it much more powerful because you can chain it to something like a B4. 3 Last Stand. This is a spell trap negate that negates and destroys, and this is really good because there's not that much negation in the format. So just being able to negate a spell trap is just like a very good way to disrupt your opponent. And then we've got 3 Fiendish Deal. This floats into any magical musket card from your deck or graveyard into your hand, and it also protects your magical musket monsters from card effects. That's the less good effect on this card, but it's still a very strong card that has a lot of utility. Now let's go on to the extra deck. It's nothing too special. We've got Arclight, Logos, and Javelin. These are all just solid rank 2s. that can be summoned off 2 Paleos in certain situations. Then we got Fortune Tune. Fortune Tune's a good level 3, no, rank 3 Xyz monster because it protects itself, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you can return it to the extra deck, which basically means you can just stall, which then means you've got more opportunity to draw into monsters or spells and traps that you need. 1 Grand Pulse, this can just pop spell or traps, it's quite powerful. 1 Darius. Darius is just a good removal option. It doesn't target, so that's the main utility of it. 1 Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. This is just a good sort of negate, somewhat. It changes an opponent's effect into making both players draw 1 card. Jaja's another removal option, similar to Darius, except it does have a specific requirement that you have to have 2 monsters in grave or original type, which you probably will, but it's possible you won't. We got 1 Heartlandraco. Heartlandraco is just a good option just for finishing off games. It's commonly used with the Heartdraco package, but you don't need that here. You can just detach your material from it to attack directly. 1 Rhapsody and Berserk. This is like Dancing Needles. It hurts on graveyard decks. When you summon it, you can banish 2 from it, and then you can equip it if you want to. 1 Gagaga Samurai. This is just another way of getting in for lethal, like the Heartlandraco. If your opponent has no monsters, you can swing in for 38k. No, 3.8k. 2 Malevolent Sin is the best rank 4 in the format. It just banishes opponent monster and you can attack, and it gains more attack. Then we got 1 Pentestag. This lets your monster deal piercing damage, which is good, but it's also just a link 2, which means that you can go into the last monster, which is Berserker of the Tenyi. Berserker of the Tenyi is really good because Berserker lets you Berserker is good because it lets you get a big monster that then can beat over other monsters, or it can crash into your opponent's Draco Berserker, depending on your opponent's Berserker, depending on the situation. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I will be live on Twitch now if you're watching this video when it comes out. So check me then, and bye.